It's Megan. I'm a photographer and watercolor artist with chronic health challenges, POTS, and restraint issues. Let's talk about the options for packing up a watercolor kit to paint at the doctor's. Even if you don't end up using it, it really helps to know that you have it, and that you could paint if you want to. First, you're going to need to be able to pack it up quickly when your name is called. These are the smallest bags that I have. Oh, title. Bags. I can put the title screen there. Bags. These are the smallest These are the smallest bags that I have. You can also dump loose things into the pockets of your purse or everyday carry bag, depending on what you have and what organization style works for you. I'll link the bags that I have in the description if you'd like to check them out. I've done a video of what fits in what bag before. I can link that for you as well. Start with what you have and see if that works for you. You might already have an old makeup bag or sunglasses case that would work perfectly. Or good enoughdly. Palettes. These are tiny tins that hold 6 half pans or 3 full pans. Though I got 4 in this one, don't ask me how I did that. Also, these flat ones that are plastic, but the paint is hard to pick up. Or depending on your space, something like the Aqua Mini, though it is thicker, or an Altoids tin, which is the same size. Or the Van Gogh, which is the biggest palette here, or the Bijou, which is the heaviest, so you'd want your chair to carry that for you to carry your paint bag for you if you end up putting too many options in there. The palette's really not that heavy. The palette holds 8 full pans, or 12 half pans, I think. I've been using full pans a lot more recently. It's easier to get your larger brushes in there. That works better for restraint issues for me. Ooh, or there's this little white one, which holds 12 full pans, and is also heavier. Paint. I would recommend not taking honey-based paints to travel anywhere with you. Honey-based paints are the ones that if they get hot, say waiting in the car for you, if it's hot outside, they could slide out of the pans and onto the other colors and become a big mess. And then you don't have colors to paint with because all the colors got mixed together and that makes brown. I haven't had a problem with the Rosa or Snellier that come dried down in the pans already, even though they're honey-based. You could use Da Vinci, American Journey, Daniel Smith, Schminke, Paul Rubens, Van Gogh. I don't think I missed anything. I'll make a comment if I forgot something. Those are not honey-based, but they also pick up well. Stop saying for restraint issues. You can also use watercolor crayons or pencils. Like commenting on my own narration while narrating. You could also use watercolor pencils or crayons. I have been able to use the Caran d'Ache Museum Aquarelle pencils because they are soft enough that I don't need to put a lot of pressure with restraint issues. I can just lightly color and they'll actually put color down on the paper. Or the Neocolor 2. Those are the water-soluble wax pastels. The official name on the side of the crayon. I've been able to use those even with restraint issues as well. Something like that is nice because you can get... I got distracted. Something like that is nice because you can then wet down the color later when you get home, so you don't have to pack or deal with water. Speaking of the water, brushes and water. I combined this into one thing because water brushes, so it's just let's just make it all one thing. I'd like to think I'd just take the travel flat that I always use, but it requires more time to set up and put away than a water brush. And you'd have to have separate water. And then cap up... Yes, it's still recording. And cap up both the water and the brush when your name is called. And I think depending on the timeline, that's probably too long. Capping back up one thing is probably taking too much time. But it depends on where you are, what place you're waiting, and for what So if time is the most important and you won't be waiting long, then a water brush. I would use the Pentel, one that's a larger flat, that's only kind that I found that doesn't leak. And then you'll be able to just cap it back up real quick. And if you're going to be waiting longer, and like you know your doctor and you're seeing them again and you're waiting in the room instead of in the waiting room, then you probably have time for like a Nalgene water container and travel brush. You've probably heard me tell this story before, but I packed an Nalgene water container in my suitcase with paint water in it. It had dirty paint water in it, and it was fine, so it's leak proof. It was dirty paint water and everything. This is how you pack when you have chronic health challenges. You don't have energy to go dump out the water, so you just throw it in the suitcase with your clothes. So it's leak proof. It'll be fine. Paper. You can fold a piece of Fabriano 4x8 in half and make a little makeshift book, and that can be as small as you need it to be. I'll link the paper cutter that I use if you end up needing to cut paper to size to fit wherever. I think I cut paper one time to put into like a little Altoids tin. I had this idea, I was like, I could put paint and a little paper, and it was too tiny to paint on. But it was a fun idea. You could do that. I still had to figure out where to put the brush. I'll link the paper cutter that I use if you end up needing to cut paper to size. I have wrist strength issues, and this is one of those slider things instead of a pair of scissors, which would hurt my wrist. A little bigger would be a small 3x5 book. You may want a clip. The Paul Rubens doesn't have a band to keep it closed, which means it also doesn't have a band to hold it open while you're painting. But you can use the band that comes with the book to hold the paper open if you are only going to be painting on one page at a time. Or if you just want to spend the whole time just layering one indistinguishable paint color on top of the other until it makes you feel better without actually painting anything recognizable, you can totally do that too. Or swatching, and then re-swatching, and then re-swatching the colors over top of the other colors, over top of the other colors on the same piece of paper that's already got paint on it. You can do that too. If that makes you feel better, go for it. And if you want to paint on 2 pages, bring a clothespin. A binder clip. Binder clip is so much harder with wrist strength issues. And then if you paint 5 things at a time, which I know if I'm at home and I'm feeling bad, like with a migraine or something, because, things, then I'll end up like painting 5 things. I don't know why it's the number 5, but I just paint, and then I paint another thing, and I paint another thing, and I'm like, I'm still feeling bad, and I paint another thing, and then somehow it ends up being the number 5. Like every time. I don't know. But anyway, I painted 6 things one time, and my wrist was hurting afterwards, and I was like, I guess my number is 5. That's okay. I can do that, and I'm usually feeling better about it then. I wonder how long that means that I take for each painting. Is it like a set amount of time that I'm painting for? Or is it really 5 things? I don't really know. Okay, I got distracted. Again. But if you paint 5 things at a time, and know that you'll have that amount of time to be painting, then bring 2 books. The first 2 pages in the first book should be dry by the time you finish the second 2 pages in the second book. That sounded complicated, but it really isn't. Like, you have 2 books, and you paint 2 pages that are facing pages in the first one. You set that to the side, and then you paint 2 pages that are facing in the second one. The first one's dry by the time you finish painting the second one. Yeah. So you can keep painting endlessly with this approach, if you take long enough on paintings number 3 and 4. Because then number 1 and 2 will dry, and then you can flip the pages in book 1 and then paint there, while pages 3 and 4 are drying on book 2. There's also these cute sample packs of paper with the red cover from where? I don't remember. They were samples from somewhere. They're usually too tiny of a space for me to like paint anything with wrist strength issues, but you can get swatches in there and like layer the color or something. Or there's the Strathmore watercolor trading cards, which are like 2.5 by 3 inches or something like that. And you can paint on those. Or you could pack up 12 of your colors in a tin or something and make swatch cards of each of your colors while you're there and accomplish something cool. Then you'd have cards with all of your colors. though I'd probably want to take my time and do something like that at home, but it's an option. You could also get washi tape and make cool patterns with the tape on your paper at home, and then just blob paint on paper at the doctor, and then remove the tape when you get home after it's dry. That would be a cool way to make something without having to put any brain power on it at the moment. You could also draw something to color in later, making yourself like a coloring page for at the doctor in your book if you don't have wrist strength issues. And you can draw with a pen. The pen I use a bit is the Pigmamicron Graphic. It's the tip that doesn't change sizes depending on how you use it, so I don't hold it too tight or use my wrist at a weird angle trying to get just the right line. Well, I think that's it. What do you like to do when you're waiting at the doctor? Have you ever painted at the doctor's? I don't think I got out my paints last time I took them, but I felt bad. I felt bad. Words. Better knowing that I had them. Where did the word bad go? I felt better knowing I had them. I think I combined the word better and had. Bad. Okay. I felt better knowing that I had my paints with me, even though I didn't actually end up painting. The last time I was at the doctor's, I was hardly in the lobby at all, and everything moved along so quickly. It was so nice. I hope you found this helpful. Whether you use this kit to take to the doctor, to the DMV, to the park, or you're painting in bed with a migraine, which I have done too. I hope you enjoyed putting together your watercolor travel kit. Thank you so much for watching. I will see you in the next video.